Hallo, welkom bij deze serie waarin Museum Jan Kuhne het mes zet in allerlei thema's die te maken hebben met onze tentoonstellingen. Een boeiend kijkje achter de schermen, met prominente gasten en steeds weer een ongewisse en inspirerende afloop. Luister, geniet en ontdek en hopelijk tot ziens in het mooiste museum van Os.
Welkom bij de podcast van Museum Jan Kuhne, waarin we in gesprek gaan over thema's uit onze tentoonstellingen. En vandaag zetten we het mes in poppen. Te gast is Nathaniel Mellors, beeldend kunstenaar, gevestigd in Los Angeles en exposant in onze huidige tentoonstelling Puppet Masters. En omdat Nathaniel Engels spreekt, nemen we deze aflevering vandaag in het Engels op. Welkom, Nathaniel.
Hi.
Ook aan tafel Wouter Bos, onze geluidstechnicus, die zich uiteraard mag mengen in het gesprek.
In English.
Later on. En ik ben Merel van der Nieuwenhof, conservator van Museum Jan Kuhne. Okay, I'm switching to English now. I'll start with a short introduction of our exhibition Puppet Masters. Puppets fascinate, move, unsettle us. They can be playful or sinister, a source of comfort or an object of desire. We project our deepest emotions onto them, even as they hold up a mirror to our own condition. In Puppet Masters, the boundaries blur between puppeteer and puppet, between control and being controlled, between art and reality. Are we the ones pulling the strings, or are we being played? Puppet Masters reveals that puppetry is more than child's play. It is a powerful instrument for exploring social realities. Well, who is pulling the strings? We will get to that later, I think. Welcome again, Nathaniel.
Hi, yeah.
It's amazing to have you here in Os, all the way from LA. How is your stay so far?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I'm having a really lovely week in Os. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you for bringing me over.
Yeah, well, we love to have you
Yeah.
here. So, maybe some other time again. But it's very nice to have you here for build-up, for interviews, and also tomorrow at our opening of the exhibition.
Absolutely.
Shall we start with just a little background? Where are you originally from, and how did you end up in LA, where you are right now?
That's a good question. I'm originally from I was born in Doncaster in Yorkshire, in the north of England. And I left England. I did my undergraduate in fine art at the Ruskin School of Drawing in Oxford, at Oxford University. And then I went and did a master's in sculpture at the Royal College of Art. And then I lived and worked in London for a little bit. And then in 2007, I moved to Amsterdam to attend the Rijksacademie program for 2 years.
Yeah.
Then I lived close to the Westerpark in Amsterdam for a couple of years. And then with my girlfriend, who later became my wife, Tala Madani, who is Iranian-American, I ended up living in the USA.
Yeah. So that's where you flew from to come over here. Yeah. Well, I have to say, I didn't know you back then when you were a resident at the Rijksacademie, but I think I knew your work from seeing it at the Venice Biennale. At several occasions, actually, because I remember moving heads that were attached to one another with the hairs, and they were like mechanically moving.
Yeah, that's probably from around 2010, 2011, that work, I think. Hippie
so.
Dialectics, that one was called.
That's right. I think I saw it at the main pavilion at Giardini
it was
back
in
then,
the
right?
it was in the Illuminations show that was done by Beecher Kuriger.
Well, that was a great show.
It was terrific. Had the big Titian paintings in it.
It was very nice. We cannot tell people to go see it now.
But
there will be a Biennale in 2026 again. So,
terrific.
Well, I hope to visit it again. I feel like that piece already said something about your work and what you're doing now, probably.
Right.
It might even also have been a candidate for this exhibition. I don't think we talked about that, but it could as well have been.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about your work in general?
Yeah, I think it often involves a kind of absurdist humour and a kind of surrealism kind of like to work from my imagination and create fictions and write scripts and come up with scenarios that can have a kind of narrative to them, but can also be quite strange and quite dynamic and shifting through different sort of levels and registers of meaning. I'm with the art speak already. And in English. Just making weird things, I think. Playing with different formats.
Just making weird things. Yeah. Well, I think there is certainly a level of weirdness in your work, which appeals to me very much. But where does that come from, you think? I think absurdism?
I think it's just... I think there are different, I think there's a few different ways that this works. I mean, one way that absurdism works in combination with satire is to be able to, is that you can address sort of real things, and you can sort of address and process things which are challenging or that you want to talk about that are social and political, in a way which is not just completely on the nose, and that you can combine a kind of imaginative reach with something which is grounded in more everyday concerns or anxieties.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, maybe that's also the function of puppetry in your work and also in general in your exhibition.
In some fundamental way, right? It's always a proxy for the human body. So it's like talking about things that are uncomfortable to talk about. I was thinking about this 10 minutes ago, about the amount of press and attention that first South Park episode of the new season got, that was addressing Trump.
Yeah.
And it struck me that one of the things that is it was so brilliant about South Park is that it can address all of these really grotesque things because the animation is so simple.
Yeah.
Right? I think one of the reasons that episode was even more challenging for an ego like Donald Trump's is that they didn't do it as a cutout animation in that sequence, that they used a doppelganger of Trump and shot it on film. When you see him staggering through the desert and you see his tiny penis, it's all it looks real, so it's much more they use that as they switch to doing it on the nose, but for the most part they are luxuriating in being able to address this incredible range of things through this very simple visual language, and I think that's partly that's what puppetry enables. Right?
It might feel like it's innocent because it's puppets, and then immediately you realize, it's not that innocent. We can talk about things.
And there's and I guess also partly it's liberating, I think, in terms of themes that can be addressed on an imaginative level, and then you quickly get into this realm with puppets. I would say historically, anyway, of the uncanny, right? Yeah, which is kind of attached to this a kind of more sinister feeling of looking at a human body which is feels like a human body but isn't.
Yeah.
And all of the discomfort that we experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's really interesting also throughout the exhibition, I think. We have like the more caring, nurturing part of puppetry, and then it switches to, this might be creepy.
Horror
It can turn into horror really quickly, and of course, like curating this show, you are aware of that, so not everything can be horror or uncanny, but it's definitely always in there. So I feel like that's actually very interesting. Like, why is it haunting, or why does it something to us? So but I feel like it has something to do with puppets being close to us, looking like us, but they are not us. So what can you do with a puppet? Maybe you can go further than in real life. So
definitely. It's the proxy for the body. Is it like a dead body, or is it like an alien version of this kind of substitute version? And it has this very visceral emotional resonance, I think, for most viewers, when you're looking at something that's close to yourself.
Yeah.
But it isn't.
Yeah, exactly.
It is fundamental to horror, right?
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Well, I don't think you are probably in the horror realm, but more in the satire, like you said. Yeah, and then with different mediums. So in the show, you have a puppet who has a TV screen on its head, and there is a video played where you also use different mediums to tell your story. Maybe we can switch to that piece. Because it's not that new.
It's 8 years old now, that piece of work. It's a work called The Alto Natives, and this is a version of a bigger work. But the work is which was originally made for the Finland Pavilion at the Venice Biennale in 2017. It has this sort of science fiction absurdist narrative, which is the idea is imagine if there are these two sort of super powerful aliens, one and their father and son, and they have the ability to sort of terraform planets into existence, so they can kind of create life on a planet. And they've gotten this kind of idea. They've absorbed this sort of ideological idea to an ideological level that Finnish culture is the ultimate form of culture, which should be sort of manifested. And they keep trying to make a perfect version of Finnish society through some process of terraforming. And in the video that we make, they've made this planet, and then they're sort of coming back millions of years later to see how it's progressing, and it's going horribly. You know?
Yeah, it's going pretty shitty. Well, before we get into that, can you tell us why a Finnish culture?
Oh yeah, sure. So it was. Along with my friend, who is an amazing artist from Finland, Erkka Nissinen. We were commissioned to make a work for the Finland Pavilion, which is the Alto Pavilion in the Giardini in Venice, for the 2017 Venice Biennale. So they did an open submission that year. They were doing that. We put forward this idea, and they enjoyed and responded to, and they commissioned. So we developed this work as a way to, parody and talk about a lot of things that were happening at that time, socially and politically. And this was around the kind of Trump, first wave of Trump, build a wall, all of this kind of rhetoric that was around at that time. So we made this work to parody this kind of emergent nationalism, with this idea that these godlike entities had kind of made some fundamental error in their ideas about culture, with this idea of Finnish culture being supreme. And then, that we would, when they then visit this planet to see how it's going, they discover that there's a kind of awful technocratic fascism that's being run by this Finnish president, and things are getting, are just kind of absurdly ridiculous. And so it's got a sort of social and political parody, and something of a religious parody as well. Like there were ideas around the creation mythology of Finland. I mean, Finland is not an old country in terms of its current kunst. I mean, obviously culturally it's very old, but in terms of Finland as a modern entity is not so old. And there is a kind of creation mythology that the country has, which involves like an egg and these kinds of, I think maybe a duck, and the
egg was actually part of the installation at the pavilion.
The sort of of these two godlike characters who are father and son. One is a giant talking egg, and the other one is a kind of talking cardboard box, who's his disappointing son. And so it kind of it plays off a little bit of he sends the son to go and see what's going on. So, and there's this dynamic that the son's always disappointing the father, but it was also enabled me to sort of script something that also parodies kind of Christian theology on some levels.
It's very nice because I remember the box from the bigger installation because we have a part of it here, but I remember at one point the box is singing, and I think it's just singing I'm just a box. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
should not be
Yeah.
singing, probably, but yeah. Let's get into it. Yeah, that was something that I still remember. Like, it was so
The
good
Just a
because
Box
the song,
song, yeah,
most of the time, had no idea what was going on, and then
Yeah.
he has this existential crisis himself, and
Yeah.
it actually is just a box, but it has a lot of facial
It's
expression in
quite,
a weird way.
That's a kind of emotional, one of the emotional climaxes of the film, I think, that part. Yeah, it's quite a sad song.
Yeah,
Just a box.
Just a box, just a box, just a box for someone else's DNA. Just a box, I'm just a box, just a box for someone else's DNA. I'm trapped inside my replacement's bum. I'm trapped inside my replacement's bum, and I'm going to drown. I'm going to drown. I'm going to drown. 'Cause he opened his mouth and swallowed everything upside down. He was inside me, now I'm inside him. And that's a spatio-temporal paradoxical kind of thing. It's not been a good day, it's been a bad day. I got nothing else to say, and now I'm going to go away.
Empty, dark, and a bit
It's in a
wet
cavern.
space.
Yeah, it's in a big cavern. Yeah. I think they're
felt
inside.
so bad for the box. That's
Yeah.
also very nice about. It's also a puppet, of course.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
box, and
yeah.
you feel for him,
Yeah.
and he is just a box. So that's really
Yeah,
nice.
well,
that
you
can
feel for him because
relate.
he wants to please his dad and he isn't really able to do it.
No, this stubborn egg, dad, God person.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I loved. That it was just
Yeah.
a big talking egg. It was actually in the space there.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
an
They were.
egg,
It was a big
yeah.
animatronic. They were both, and they had the big talking egg and the cardboard box both had video projectors on their heads. So
Moving around.
the sort of hour-long film that you watch, the animatronics, it sort of sometimes would interrupt or interact with, and they were projecting it. So they were sort of integrated into it.
I feel like at the Venice Biennale, whenever there's a video piece, you're like, oh my God, I don't have time for this now.
Right.
And then I entered the Finnish pavilion, and I couldn't get out of there. I was like, okay, I have to see it again.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
think
Yeah.
I did 2 runs of it and maybe
that's
some
great.
more. And it was funny, but also you were like, what the F is going on?
Yeah.
And feeling like, I think he's like putting a mirror right in front of my face. What
right.
are we doing in our
Yeah.
society?
Yeah.
So it's confronting and total absurdism at the same time.
Yeah.
I felt like it was
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I'm really happy that we have like a part of that installation here.
Yeah.
Like in the whole process for this exhibition, we actually talked about can we have the whole thing? And,
Right.
that was not possible production-wise, but I'm actually glad that we didn't do it like that because it would have like been bigger and louder than everything else maybe, and now it's more integrated in the dialogue of the combinations with other artists.
Yeah.
But I feel it's really nice that we have this puppet-like guy standing there with a ridiculously long tie. Like, he's the main guy probably, but then he's just in grey, and it's
he's like the
corporate.
idea was that he was a kind of estate agent, or and as a figure to sort of, it leans a little bit into this aspect of, well, the part of the film that we're looking at is a part where the Atom, the cardboard box son character, is visiting this village. Well, first of all, he meets this kind of really grotesque. He's walking along singing a song, and he has this encounter with this quite grotesque puppet who is a kind of there's this idea of the transcendental accident, which is a kind of disease that's afflicting the young people in this village, and first of all, he does this kind of performative dance for Atom, which is ridiculous. And then he explains that, there's this problem, there's a kind of socio-economic problem, and that ideally he would be at university, but instead he's forced to wander the countryside performing modern dance to ease the pain that he's experiencing. And so he does.
Very sad.
And then he takes him. So there's this kind of, in a way, there's this idea that that something that's related to culture and also to the economics of the village has gone really wrong. And so he takes Atom to the village, and then Atom encounters various people there who talk about how sort of afflicted they are and how depressed things have gotten. Like there's a character who says, I used to be a cheese maker, and now I just look at pictures of cheese on the internet. And this idea that all these kind of these kind of local industries have all collapsed and things. It's sort of genuinely depressed. It's approached in a humorous way, but it's kind of it relates, I suppose, to the increasing sort of alienation of a more working class demographic and a kind of wealth separation that has been going on for decades, and obviously it's only been getting worse in the eight years since we made the film.
That's a lot of backstory for one puppet.
Right, for the estate agent. Oh yeah, I forgot we were talking about that.
He has the TV screen on his head, and this is all going on up there.
Okay, he will explain it.
Yeah,
the puppet.
if you're standing there, you will immediately know, this is what he
the
was talking
estate
about.
agent puppet is just the stand. It's just holding up the scene, basically.
Yeah.
And
Just
so,
standing there
so
with
the idea that it's an estate agent is just a lean into that theme.
Yeah.
That's all and that's all it is. And it's completely grey and bureaucratic looking with this long tie that is holding it up as a kind of third leg. And it has no eyeballs, so it looks a bit like a zombie.
It's great.
Yeah.
That always works. Puppets without eyes.
Yeah,
something
exactly.
Like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a great one.
So the real estate being a kind of currency, I suppose, in a way, or as a in a generic sense, is kind of just alluded to through the puppet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, what's also very interesting, you already said it a little bit because you made it 8 years ago, but it even feels more relevant today in a way, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the fact that it was made at the beginning of that first Trump term and with this kind of rampant nationalism and xenophobia and then this idea of a sort of technologized form of fascism that is about a kind of super extensive bureaucracy that's very technologized, that people are just caught in and lost in and going around in circles in, can't escape from. I think the themes in the work are more. It is more relevant now than when we made it, which is not something to be proud of.
No.
Unfortunately.
Back then, when you made it might have seemed like, okay, this is gonna be like a one-term thing, and then hopefully there's a way up from there. And now, we're here.
Absolutely,
Yeah. But that's interesting. I think one of the questions we ask ourselves and the audience in the exhibition is also who is pulling the strings.
Yeah.
And I think that's relevant here in several levels probably.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And also in the other piece, maybe we should switch up to that one.
Yeah,
because,
totally.
We present the older work, but then also when we were talking about you participating in Puppet Masters, you said, there's actually something on my mind that I want to be working on.
Yeah.
And it might fit your theme. So then you basically started doing that. And that's also about who is pulling the strings in a quite literal way almost.
Yeah.
Walk us through it.
So the new work is called Brainworm. And I had this idea when we first started talking that I wanted to make a work from the point of view of Robert F. Kennedy's Brainworm. So there's this, the backstory to that is that Robert F. Kennedy, who's now in control of health in America, is, and obviously part of Trump's kind of inner circle of characters, had this parasitic brainworm. And
in reality,
we were laughing about it, and I remember you saying something like that's bad for him, but otherwise it's quite funny.
Yeah. Well,
maybe you should.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. Well, it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
Also, given the
Well,
fact
it sounds
that
completely.
he is
It sounds
in the
unbelievable. Yeah. Well, absolutely. Like he's
like
been.
with his role.
He's lived it well because he's been a complete outlier in terms of his belief, his approach to health is totally eccentric, right? So he's sort of opposed to vaccines in different ways, and had done all. There's these crazy anecdotes about him. Like didn't he sort of shoot some animal and hide it in Central Park? Do you know about this? But
with the brainworm, the things make sense now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like those. Yeah,
and
like
that's
actually.
Excuse for anything. That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was actually your starting point.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think this idea of whether is this person being puppeteered by this brainworm, and what's. Yeah. But then I started to think, because I was kind of thinking in different perspectives. What's the brainworm's point of view? How does the brainworm feel about this? So I started to imagine this, that I wanted to explore this idea, and it kind of took me to this idea of the brainworm having a kind of identity crisis. Like, is it in control or is it being controlled? And then I kind of went into this idea of the algorithm. Like, what the brainworm is questioning whether it's real or whether it's just a kind of materialization of some kind of algorithmic consensus of people's ideas about worms. Yeah. So that there is some kind of lowest common denominator generalization that plays out through the algorithm. That it's not reaching for the best information. It's just going for anything and everything. Yeah. And so
at one point he's talking about low quality thoughts.
Might just the result of a lot of people's maybe not even high quality thoughts, just low quality thoughts. Maybe just their daydreams. Yeah. It's not that daydreams are low quality, but I'm kind of joking. But yeah, so he starts to have this kind of existential crisis, and then he says, what if I'm just a sock, a sock who thinks it's a worm, or and then it talks about imagines being a sausage, and imagines being a sock, imagines being a piece of string, and goes through this kind of ego breakdown, and then kind of comes out of that. I was interested in this dynamic that there can be a kind of there's a kind of breakdown of the ego, and then it reconstructs itself with a sort of superego, so it kind of starts to, it instead of kind of taking the opportunity to reconstruct itself in a more grounded way, it pivots into imagining itself as a kind of godly entity.
Yeah.
So it plays off of ego in lots of different ways. I think this work,
Yeah. That's also very interesting to me because we are talking about some characters.
Yeah.
That have a lot of ego. Probably.
Massively, yeah. And I thought also it develops this god-like sort of ego, and then someone shoots it. And I wasn't thinking directly about this kind of political violence that's manifesting all the time. But there it is.
Yeah.
Exactly. That story about the worm and stuff. How does it manifest in the art? In what form did it take?
Well, So I had I made this silicon worm as an object, which is about 6 feet long.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, I'll send you some pictures of it.
Good, yeah.
And
you need a lot of skull for it.
Yeah. Yes. And it's got a really big head. And then I did the core of the video is stop frame animation, where I'm kind of puppeteering the object. So, but I mean, I'm changing it frame by frame. And first of all, I record the dialogue. I write a little script, perform it myself, voice it in there's a kind of the worm has this kind of absurd voice which kind of moves around all over the place, and so I performed it in a way that I was happy with and edited it, and then I animate the worm in a way that synchronizes with the sound.
Yeah.
So using the silicon worm for sections of it, then also
it has teeth, Wouter.
Yeah, it's got little teeth.
Yeah, it's quite haunting.
It's quite it's a bit sort of it's a bit sort of alien or something. Yeah. Then I also do a sequence with a sock that I'm puppeteering, just with my hand and moving it around, stop frame. And there's also some parts with string that are stop frame animated, and there's a sausage that I made a little mouth, and the sausage talks. And so I did stop frame animation for for kind of, in a way, all of the dialogue.
Yeah.
And then because the work is talking about this crisis of identity in relation to the algorithm and in relation to artificial intelligence, I use artificial intelligence to augment the video. So there are some sections which are generated with AI from the visuals that I've made. So it takes it into, and this gives it a kind of dynamism, where like I was quite happy actually with this use of AI, which is that it kind of enables me to experiment and do things with production that would otherwise be really expensive, to create a kind of dynamic range within the video.
Yeah.
So there's some special effects in it basically which are done with AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And some other little bits of animation, like where the worm becomes is like a stand-up comedian, and it looks like a different style of animation.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
A bit more cartoony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you use AI just for its visual capabilities, or was there also an idea behind why you use AI? Is it just a tool, or
no? It's used. I mean, it became a tool for creating these different visual dynamics, but it comes from the theme of the work, which is that the identity crisis is like, am I just an algorithm? Am I just it? So it's a reflection on this idea of knowing where you are when things are being continuously mediated.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Circling down the algorithm.
Exactly. And so so parts of it go into these more extreme visuals with AI, but this is also a manifestation of what the worm is.
I think so. I must be AI.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. A is I and I is A, and what am I exactly is the first line of the piece.
Yeah.
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 And there's also music in it, and I must say the song is very catchy. It's a hit. I hope the radio people are listening, because it's a hit. I have been singing Warm Sausage String all week, and
hooky.
Also the Am I Alfalfa.
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
Am I
going on a lot here.
Alpha. Am I alfalfa?
Alfalfa.
Yeah.
That was good. And so,
Now I'm getting interested.
yeah. Oh, now you are. Okay.
Even more.
Yeah.
It was quite funny because we had build up and it was on the whole time because it's a video work and we already had it on volume. So I think everybody here was actually singing it.
It's very hooky.
So,
it's like
it is.
it's the new lava chicken. You know.
Oh, I don't know that one.
No, it's from Minecraft. From the Minecraft. Do you have children?
Yeah, I know Minecraft.
Okay,
I haven't seen
so
the
it's
movie.
it's from the movie. Yeah. If you have children, you get subjected to this. Yeah.
We got homework now also. But this one is also a real earworm.
Yeah, it is an
absolutely. Pick up there, so it's
an
very
earworm.
appropriate.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and but I think music actually is a very big part of your work in the video work, and also maybe outside of the art.
So music's really a really important part of my work, and I'm always involved in writing and performing music in one form or another. And the last exhibition, the last solo exhibition I did at the Box in Los Angeles, I wrote a set of songs for the exhibition, and the exhibition was essentially sculpture and painting. They were these sculptures that were all weeping. They were like fountains. They were sort of various heads that wept into these perspex boxes. There's a kind of continuous weeping, and then a set of paintings that accompanied them. And then I would pop up, and there was like a keyboard and a microphone and speakers, and I would periodically just go and sing in the show, and this is the first time that I've integrated it in that way. But like we were talking about earlier, there's songs through the alternatives that I've written and performed, or music that I compose for videos. It can kind of come out in different ways. And in the new work Brainworm, there are these very these kind of really pop songs that express, that voice parts of the script. The lyrics are from the script. Yeah. So it kind of cuts back. It's a dynamic thing where suddenly you're hearing the words are being sung to you by a different voice. And this creates a nice dynamism, I think.
What is like your style of music outside of your art?
It's kind of a combination of like, I work with this incredible drummer called Ashley Marlowe, I used to make techno with in the 90s, who's a terrific, and two other people, Dan Fox and Andy Cook, and it kind of combines elements of jazz, rock, folk, and sort of more electronic synthesizers. It's a big fusion, really, I would say. Sometimes it's in sort of, there might be some dubby elements or definitely some jazz inflections, and there's a often singing and vocalization. So,
and then within your art, maybe you can feel the freedom to express it in pop music,
or in whichever way suit the piece. I mean, the group that I have is called The God in Hackney, and that's out there. There's several albums which we've released, and I'm mixing one at the moment.
We'll check it out.
Yeah, but yeah, and I think this is probably the new work Brainworm is the first time that I've really done something that's much more poppy, you know, for the piece.
And the woman's voice.
It's AI.
Yeah. I wanted to ask that the whole time.
Yeah, the vocals are generated by AI, but you have to really. It took a lot of generations.
Yeah. To get the prompt right.
Yeah, well, to get one that for me felt good, felt, because it's just a lot of it, in my opinion, was horrible.
Yeah, well, this is very convincing, but I can imagine it took you some hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's amazing the speed at which it can generate it.
Yeah. Let's get back to the exhibition for a bit, because, well, of course, we have been focusing on your work and how we want to present it, and well, maybe that's also a nice thing to talk about shortly. I think up until this week, I wasn't sure we were getting also maybe a worm or a sock or a sausage, animatronic or just object, and especially now hearing you talk about it again, I feel like it's actually good that you left it out, because it can still be the thought of a worm or a sock or a string. Or,
right. It doesn't fix it in one version.
Yeah.
No, it's continuously moving. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, and I think my feeling was, I mean, you reach in different directions as you're developing a work. And I'd imagined this kind of twitching sock or something suspended in a box, that kind of moves with it.
I could see it. So it might have been nice, but now I feel...
I think what happened was the video went much further than I'd expected.
Yeah.
And it went into all these different places, and it really, in making it was quite a joyful experience. It kind of really flowed, and I felt that it felt so comprehensive that I wanted that to be the focus. Yeah. I didn't want to go, and there's this thing.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So it just felt very complete. And I think it's a work that, we talked about, initially I think I was saying, can it have its own room, or, these kinds of thoughts. But what's cool, I think, about this piece is, which ties into its subject matter, being this kind of, in a way, this feedback loop that people are in all the time with their devices.
Yeah.
Is that it works as well on a device as it does on a big screen. Yeah. So that's a new thing, I think, for me, in terms of how the work exists, and that it feel, it's very kind of in the moment in that respect.
It might be a little bit more relatable now. It's on a TV screen than putting it on a big screen.
I think so.
Maybe, or in
I
a
think so.
Room.
I think it's because it's kind of like this. You're in this kind of funnel in a way with the technology, right? Yeah. It's not taking you outwards and into the wider world. It's it's pulling you in all the time.
It is. Yeah.
And so it's a kind of this kind of pull into this interior, I think, suits it, and it holds that space really well, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also really thought it was interesting to have it in dialogue with completely different work. So
Yeah.
it's actually facing the work of Erik Matthijssen, who does something completely different.
Yeah.
It's like hanging puppets. They're like two-dimensional puppets, but hanging in the space, so it's a bit 3D as well. And but that also has something to do with who holds the power and who's the big guy here or not. And so it's actually a really nice dialogue. And Erik was here yesterday because he can't be at the opening. And he was like, yeah, I like that it has a different context than his work usually gets. So it's totally different dialogue also for his work.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have the exhibition as a whole. And I suppose you haven't seen everything yet. But
no, but it is
not.
I mean,
you saw like.
Yeah, I mean, I only really have an overview, but what I would say is that it's, you know, I've not been in an exhibition where puppetry is the focus. You know, normally like it might be my work might have elements of that, or you know, be the work that represents that in a group exhibition. So it's really nice, you know, to have this kind of great depth of focus on puppetry as a theme. You know, so I think there's lots of different, you know, dialogues and things that that emerge through that, you know, and
I hope people will recognize that during their walk through the exhibition. And also the starting point is very local and maybe a bit intimate with the puppets by Marach, the puppet theater that was located in Austin, actually in this building. But then moving away from that into all kinds of sub-themes and also with artists from the Netherlands, but also from all over the world, actually, because you are in it, and Tobias Bradford is in it, who is located in London. And I think that's also very nice. It has like this wide view, but a very local starting point. I like to do stuff like that.
Definitely.
Well, and you have met Tobias.
I
his
really
big
enjoyed.
dog in the exhibition is very
amazing.
impressive. I
It's
think,
an amazing
and also
thing.
uncanny and creepy and
Totally uncanny.
But I think I will leave it for you to see at the opening. And also we are still fixing everything.
We're finishing the installed.
Last question for today. What's next when you're back in LA?
Hey, that's a really good question. I'm going to be So this is making this new video, the brainworm video, has kind of opened up a set of processes which I really want to continue. So I'm kind of I've been continuing to write coming out of finishing this work in the last few weeks. There's like a number of different directions and themes that I'm writing on, and so I'm going to be working on new video and film work, and also I have an album to finish, an album of music with the God in Hackney, which is recorded, which I think Ashley Marlowe's coming over from Brighton, and we're going to finish the mixing of that album in November.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we will be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
Any concert with an AI-generated singer?
Oh yeah, no, that's a good idea. Nothing planned at the moment.
Nobody on stage.
I need to make we need to make the body.
Well, Kraftwerk did it, so.
That's true. Yeah.
I've got one question. So, on the worm, you say it was inspired by Robert R. Kennedy. Robert F. Kennedy. Sorry. Politics in the US is quite polarized.
Yeah.
How do you feel of such political subjects? Do you sometimes feel like maybe I shouldn't touch it?
Yeah, because the environment's getting more and more frightening, or more and more oppressive. You mean?
Yeah. Polarizing.
Yeah. I think it's really important to work. I think one of the side effects of the last 10 years is people in art and cultural producers being quite cautious about what they feel they can and can't express. I think this is something that's been affected by both the right and the left, actually, and I put the left in parentheses because I don't really believe that there is an actual left wing in America in any sort of real historical sense. I mean, there's a kind of centre left, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that people have, for a lot of different reasons, sort of been quite self-censoring in recent years, and that now there is also, I suppose, this very overt, like, shutting down of the institutions of liberal ideology by the hard right. I think it's really important that people, you know, make art in a way that transcends these kinds of politics, and that people take. I think you have to take the power I think you automatically have the power, and in a way you have to give it up, you know, to not have it. So it's a choice, I think, that artists have, and I think there's like a fundamental sovereignty that people really need to hold on to and not be fearful. And a lot of the
you're not concerned of any backlash.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, I don't know if the work gets picked up and shown on the Daily Show or something because they want to take the piss out of RFK, you know, and then, you know, suddenly there's a lot of attention, then maybe you're in a situation where, you know, it would have to. I would imagine the work would need to have a much higher profile to really attract that kind of attention that would become frightening, you know. And it would be great if it had that kind of profile, but at the same time, I mean, nobody wants to be like in fear of their life because of, you know, American,
might be relatively safe
American politics. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it is obviously it is a dark situation, and the arts are you know, there is a desire to shut down anything which functions as a voice of dissent, right? And so it's really a time, I think, to fight for free expression in the arts. And you know, like I say, the art's been compromised by the right, but it's also been compromised by its own entanglement with capitalism, with money, with commerce. You know, like these are sort of neoliberal colonizing forces which lead to self-censorship in lots of ways, with people wanting to make sure their work is attractive to collectors, or, you know, appealing to certain political initiatives. So there are a lot of forces that can, I think, lead artists into more repressive modes, and I think it's really, really important to work against that at all times.
Yeah.
It's satire, but it still can be very serious.
Yeah. It's deadly serious, actually. But with a, you know, wrapped up in jokes.
Yeah. I think all of this actually is in your pieces. Also, it's not just about the political situation or people's personal lives. It's also about the art world. I feel like it's about
there's definitely a sort of a questioning of the art world's role in some of these shifts to the right that I've written into the work, and you know, you see that in the alternatives piece, I think, with the dialogue with the Mr. Box character, and this idea that this character's making this sort of work which is really alienating for everybody and leads to him to be completely hated, but that he is on some level trying to protect something more fundamental. And this is there's various sort of cultural jokes in this, and jokes around cultural ownership, but there's kind of an observation, I think, that there are certain forces of which are related to commerce and owning art, which are problematic for sort of art to be actually really exciting or interesting, you know. Right? So that's kind of been a joke in the work, which can be uncomfortable, a kind of uncomfortable joke, because it implicates all of us. I don't make that joke like, oh look, you're hypocritical and I'm here making this, you know. I'm including myself within this, within these observations.
Will sense that and then painfully laugh.
Like, exactly.
And I watched it happen also to my colleagues who were not expecting anything and just walked in, and I was just looking at them from around the corner, how they reacted to the work, and I feel like they sense the humor, but also like, ooh,
Yeah.
this is also about me. So,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
good stuff, I think. Yeah.
Thank you, Meryl.
Well, thank you. I'm actually very honored that you're here in the podcast and in the exhibition, and also wanted to do like a brand new piece for it. So
It's been absolutely my pleasure, and thank you for all of that.
the exhibition is on view until January 25. The exhibition is called Puppet Masters, and it contains works by Lily Houston Herterich, Karen van Herwaarde, Gijs Asman, Tamara Muller, Erik Matthijssen, Afra IJsma, Mercedes Aspilicueta, Paul Koiker, Hans Belmer, Tobias Bradford, Remy Neumann, Claude Cahun, Elisabeth Stienstra, Teun Hox, Judith Knapp, and of course Nathaniel Mellors. So it's quite a lineup, I think.
It's an amazing group of artists to be with.
So
Yeah.
please come and visit Museum Jan Kuhne in Os, and also check out the new album by The God in Hackney.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Nathaniel.
Thank
and
you.
Also thanks to you, Wouter.
Thank you.